Hey guys, Clay Edwards here. I want to tell you real quick about RC Lawn Care. My buddy Richard Coley is going to be the guy you need to contact for all of your lawn maintenance needs. You can reach him at 601-502-3529. They offer roof to curb service, blowing off the roof, gutter cleaning, basic lawn care including mow, trim, edge, and blow, full lawn cleanup, trash removal, garden supplies delivered, pine straw installs, driveway and sidewalk pressure washing. If grass is growing, you need RC Lawn Care Mowing. Again, 601-502-3529. Richard Coley at RC Lawn Care, proud sponsor of the Clay Edwards Show podcast. All right, welcome in to the free-range human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. It starts right now. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I am Clay Edwards. I am on fire today. I've been holding this in for so many days now. Had interviews yesterday. Thank them. I bless them. I wish them all the best of luck today in their elections. But it's time to uncork this son of a gun and have some incendiary shenanigans this morning. I got Shaun Yurtkuran here in the WYAB studios with me for a special edition of our tag team adventures. It's election day in Mississippi. That's what we that was the excuse for having Shaun in on a Tuesday. But really, let's just be honest, a lot has happened since the last time he was in here was Wednesday. He wasn't able to make it Friday. So we got some catching up to do. Hey, look, at the end of the day, vote Chris McDaniels or die. You know, I mean, you see what's going on in Hinds County, Holmes County, Yazoo County. You want that in Madison or Rankin, go ahead and vote for Delbert. If you like how things are going currently in Madison or Rankin, go ahead and vote for Chris. That's all I can say. Hinds County, we know what direction y'all are going. You're voting for the Democrat Delbert. I get it.
Hey, I'm voting the Democratic primary today, and for Tyree Jones. And if anybody's in Hinds County, that's who you need to vote for.
Concurred.
He's done a wonderful job as sheriff. I've known him back since his JPD days, and the guy is a cop's cop, but he's excellent.
Well, it would be the most Hinds County thing ever for them to vote for Chrysler with all that he's going through. So they love their criminals over there. Well, alleged.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean, I'm personal friends with him too. I like Marshawn a lot. I think he's a great guy. I just think Tyree deserves another term. I just, he's done a good job. And
give me one reason he doesn't.
Yeah, that's not a personal thing at all. I just think Tyree's done a good job.
I do too. He has. Oh, and I just don't think it. Man, you can't. Okay, there's going to be some hypocrisy here. You can't elect Chrysler with the type of investigations he's under. That, given. I mean.
Oh, you're trying to bring that back to like Trump, right? I see.
Well, yeah, I want to cover myself here.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Because I think they're different.
Yeah.
Because I think getting ammunition to a convicted felon.
Right. Yeah. It seems like it's just apples and oranges kind of thing, right? I mean, it's just not
versus hiding documents and a witch hunt, a political witch hunt. I don't think what's going on with Chrysler is a political witch hunt. I think it is clearly he effed around and now he's finding out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just know what you know, what I've read in the paper, and it doesn't. I mean, I don't know if doesn't seem like a political attack to me. I don't know what happened, and I'm not gonna speculate.
He doesn't get conveniently arrested anytime something bad happens in Jackson right. To deflect the attention.
We just got a good sheriff, man. We just do, and it's not one of those. For so many years, I worked over there at the DA's office, and we had Mac. Mac was, we all know him, and he was there forever, and then he lost to Tyron Lewis, and then it's just then I think Victor became sheriff, and it was kind of just a cabal of things for years over there, and then of course Lee Vance is a good man, God rest his soul, and I thought he did a good job too, and then Tyree I think was kind of basically his second command, and he's just done a phenomenal job in my mind.
Jackson / Hinds County's had an interesting deal with folks dying in office.
Yeah.
The last 10 years or so.
Yeah, I think Victor died after he lost at Lee, didn't he? Isn't that right?
Yeah, but Lee died in office. Frank Melton died in office. Chokwe Sr. died in office.
Mm-hmm, that's true. Yeah, there's a lot of that. And
probably leaving somebody else out, too. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of dying in office around here. We ended up with a lot of special elections.
Frank Melton died on election night. You remember that?
I do.
It was like a Greek tragedy or something.
Yeah.
The way it happened.
Lost and died.
Yeah, he lost and he died that night.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
And then of course, he still had some term left. Because
Yeah.
it ain't like your term's over the next day.
No, that's right. And then Shaun Christopher was actually running for mayor that year. That's the time I met him.
Yeah, so let's see here. Somebody texted me and said, how is it hypocritical? One, all right, this is from Jerry. He says, sorry, my text come a little slow. Anyway, all right, it says, how's it hypocritical? One, he is a criminal. One is a criminal. One is a banana republic. Not the same thing. Well, that's my point exactly. Thank you. All right. Let's jump into this, man. Let's jump into the boardwalk brawl. I've been wanting to talk about this since Saturday night, and obviously I couldn't drag my guest down this road yesterday.
Sure.
So
you'll get to drag me down it.
Absolutely. This is low hanging fruit. This is meat on the bone for what we do here on the Clay Edwards Show. If you guys want to chime in, the Guns and Gear text line 769-241-1944. Something tells me the phone lines may be active today. 601.
It's election day.
601-879-0002. Let's talk about this. And look, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I don't know what to tell you. You may not find this interesting. But if you're on the internet at all, you know what I'm talking about. Montgomery, Alabama, the boardwalk brawl and the fallout. You know, so a white guy and a black guy were arguing. Is how it started. Drunk white guy, black security guard on some kind of boardwalk there in Montgomery, Alabama. I ain't never been to Montgomery. I don't care. I'm not that familiar with it. Looks like some place that riverboats pull up to, but apparently I guess you could pull up there on your party barge as well. Your pontoon boats. They're arguing for what the video doesn't. The first video, the main one that's being shared, doesn't show is they've been arguing for about 10 or 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. It's irrelevant. It don't matter what the security guard said, but apparently fighting words got spoken at some point because he got swung on. Well, then white dude number 2 comes in. White dude number 3, so on and so forth. They're whooping on this guy, and then all the black people from around the area start congregating. One swims across the boardwalk area. The little pier, from pier to pier or whatever, or the canal, I guess it would be called. One swims across the canal. They're now calling him Black Aquaman. Well, y'all love racial appropriations. Love racially appropriating things. First it was Little Mermaid, now it's Aquaman. Anyway, so it escalates into all-out race war, brawl, WWE style, Royal Rumble. Women get involved. And then some crazy man with a chair comes out of nowhere, hits a couple people, and at some point there's a woman on the ground. How she got there, she fell down, was trying to break up the fight, whatever. She should have minded her own business. She didn't. Doesn't matter. Woman on the ground gets smacked with a chair in the head. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's assault with a deadly weapon. Shaun, you saw the video. Would that be? He hit a defenseless woman with a chair.
Yeah, that part was pretty awful. The lady seemed she was kind of older too, wasn't she?
Aggravated assault at minimum.
Yeah, it could be an aggravated assault for sure.
I think so. Sure. Definitely lock his ass up.
Yeah, but it's pretty. And she looked like she was probably about in her 60s or something.
Yeah, bigger lady too.
Bigger lady, just an older woman sitting on the ground, and she was kind of just sitting on there. She wasn't. It didn't look like she was attacking anybody at that point. She was just sitting on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, like she lost her balance. Whatever.
Man, I'm an equal opportunity if everybody needs to go to jail when they do things like that. You know, I'm always that way.
Lock them all up. Here's the thing. All last week, all I heard was the vigilante justice and trying that in a small town was racist. Now, vigilante justice and I tried that in a small town. They tried that in a small town. They effed around. They found out. Now it's all the rage. Which one is it, black folks? Is vigilante justice, is it racist or is it redemption?
Well, I mean, the deputies last week were certainly racist. I mean, I think we all know that.
We're going to get to that today, too, yeah. We're definitely going to get to that. So
they effed around and found out as well.
They did. Did you see the coin?
Yes, I saw you post that. I did see that this morning.
You know, so I'm just curious, man, if y'all have watched this video, what do y'all think? I mean, so some of the things that's coming out after it, and y'all know what I do here, man. I just want equal outrage about things. You know, and I like to call out hypocrisy. Every now and then I have a bit of my own hypocrisy, and y'all call me out on it, so I'm going to call y'all out on it. Black folks are hollering that their ancestors would be proud of this. Again, I want to, if a gang of white folks had just whooped up on a few black folks, and one of the white folks said, boy, our ancestors would be proud, how would that play in the media?
Not well at all. And I think, that's kind of segues us into what last week. I didn't see anybody looking at the comments about the deputies. And even I was listening to your show, actually, and I wasn't on Friday. I didn't see anybody cheering that on. You know what I mean? Well, what happened, what those guys did. It seemed like it was pretty universal outrage about what happened, as it should be.
I haven't seen a single comment.
Me either.
From even a rogue, fake redneck account.
Yeah, I haven't either.
That said, them boys got what they deserved, or
nope.
I stand with the police on this one. Not a single comment.
Yeah, because these guys weren't even police. I mean, they were just criminals. Like it's not even.
And of course, the media doesn't want to talk about this because it's not as sultry as white cops, black guys.
Sure.
But on the same day, they pled guilty to three of them pled guilty to doing the same thing to a white guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The AS, I believe, were the initials.
Something like that.
Yeah. It's in the like on Kingfish's report, and Dark Horse Press did a story about it yesterday.
And I think there's some other, isn't there some other black guys they may have killed or something? I thought I read that on ABC.
Yeah, there's a black guy that Elward, I believe, had a confrontation with a couple years ago that died. There's some conflicting reports as to what happened in that tussle. Mm-hmm. I read that yesterday. I guess I should be prepared for just assuming they're going to get him for murder on this. Yeah. They're going to go back and they're going to just decide, that this was murder now, just because that's the way they seem to be doing things.
Well, I think the problem you've got also is those guys. I mean, one of them wasn't McAlpin the chief investigator, I think, of the sheriff's department.
I believe so.
And it's not just cases like murder. I'm talking about just the cases if they arrested anybody. Like those are all going to be, I'm sure, looked up pretty tightly now.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Now, I know the meat on the bone is white cops, black guys.
Sure,
that's the narrative that needs to be pushed. That's what's going to go nationally. That's all that. But from my understanding, at least from what I see online, trust me, the hate I've seen for these cops ain't just coming from the black folks.
No, it's not.
Or these stories, these experiences.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of white folks on my timeline that are calling them out individually and talking about incidents that have happened to them.
Yeah, I heard that too.
I had a phone call from a longtime friend of mine Friday when I got off this show, a guy I don't talk to a whole lot, but he felt the urge to call me after that show to talk about how they ruined his life.
Really? Jeez.
Just absolutely ruined his life. Hey, he went to prison. Now, he said, hey, look, I've been arrested 40 times. He's an outstanding citizen nowadays.
Okay.
But he was like, things could have gone completely different. It was between something to do with Michael Guest and them. And he tried to join the Army, and Michael Guest laughed him out of the courtroom and sent him to prison, over basically a misdemeanor drug charge.
Something like, was it these guys that busted him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
And he just, I think maybe he was just recurring to Rankin County as a whole, but there was one of these guys he did not like. Maybe it was McAlpin, I believe.
Yeah. I heard a lot about all of them too. I mean, I think, and that was like about, your show Friday, and I texted you during the show and I said, whenever we talk about race.
He's a white guy, by the way. That's more to my story here.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Like, we always talk about race and this and that. And if you want to hear about, it's kind of a weird situation where you have these racist cops who did this, who were obviously saying racist things while they were doing this. But I thought the response to this has kind of showed how Mississippi's progressed. You know what I mean?
Let's discuss that on the other side of the break here. This is the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran. When we come back, we're going to peel the onion back on this thing a little bit more. If you guys want to chime in, 769-241-1944 is the Guns and Gear text line. Phone line, it is wide open. 2 full hours today. 601-879-0002. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Man, I ain't done an ad read in what seems like forever with all these political guests on here. But how about you guys get out to Guns and Gear and buy you some pew-pew. The home of No Limit ammo. I love No Limit anyway. I'm like No Limit soldier. Anyway, home of No Limit ammo. And, of course, they got their deals of the day there on their Facebook page. Check them out. There's always some kind of smoking good deal. Just search Guns and Gear on Facebook. Check out gunsandgearms.com. You can shop online or just go by and see them in person. It's Tuesday. They're open. And right there at 51 North in Gluckstadt at Yandale Road. But hey, look, so much more than just a gun and ammo store. They got all of your accessories you could possibly need. And, of course, they can take care of all your Cerakoting and gunsmithing needs. And don't forget, they have used guns because they buy used guns. No sense in going to a pawn shop to break bread when you can go right there to Guns and Gear. Sell it to a gun guy. They'll get you a good price on it, or you can use it as trade-in value, or however you want to do it. That's Guns and Gear, Highway 51 North in Gluckstadt, sponsor of the Guns and Gear text line. All right, let's read a couple. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll get back to the text. Let's pick up the conversation where we left off. We're talking about the Rankin County Goon Squad here.
Yeah.
I was hoping we would spend more time talking about the boardwalk beatdown, but I think kind of got that out of our system. If anybody has anything they want to say about that, feel free to call in or text. But we were talking about the show Friday and how it feels like most, even what I would say, even the rednecks are mad.
Yeah, right. I'll let you use that word instead of me, right? That's what I thought. That's what I said to you Friday. I said it was really kind of, I don't want to sound corny. It was kind of heartwarming, to be honest with you, to hear people, like you say, white people were angry about it. And, I think when we talk about, so when we talk about racial progress and things that have happened, like, if that's not racial progress, I don't know what is. Because if that happened like in 1950, I don't think you would have that kind of response. But now it's like people were really bad. And I think at the heart, people don't want to be racist, but they don't want to, they're not they don't want it, and they get mad at it. So when you see something that's actually racist, it makes everybody pretty mad.
Well, there's so many claims of fake skies falling racism.
Sure.
That is nauseating, and it's got me to where I'm at.
Yeah.
Where I just like, whatever.
Like the water stuff we always talk about. Yeah. Like how Chokwe blaming the trash on racism. Like when he did that recently. I mean, it's not everything is racist, but sometimes there's something that is racist like this, and then everybody calls it out, as they should. Well,
we all have a self-esteem issue around here. Mm-hmm. Concerning racism and the way we're depicted in movies.
Right. And
we really go above and beyond to try to not be.
Yeah.
Now we self-segregate ourselves. Both sides do that, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Blacks do it, whites do it.
Right.
We all run into our holes, and we self-segregate because we are tribal. Yeah. And I think, generally speaking, most people just prefer to be around people that they have more in common with.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. Let's take a call.
Yeah.
Hey, Ryan, you're on there.
Hey, how's it going, y'all?
Good, brother. How about yourself?
I'm all right. Now I gotta disagree with some of y'all with some of what you said about the fight and the police thing. I'm not saying you guys were saying they are the same. I just want to make sure that it's clear that it is very different. Those guys, that the Goon Squad, I guess that's what they're called, but they took an oath, to protect, the community, not just black folks, not just white folks, not just Asians, anybody, but the community as a whole, and they did not do their job. So, but this fight, I mean, it was a fight. I mean, a chair was used, but it was a fight. Nobody's killed. It is a difference now.
Oh no, I don't think we ever said the two were the same.
No,
on no level.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. I just dropped my daughter off of school, so I thought I probably caught the tail end of it, but. We're good then. I mean, I just want to make sure that no one's saying that, hey, have equal outrage.
What I said about equal outrage was that 2 weeks ago, everybody was all fired up, screaming that Jason Aldean was racist for talking about try that in a small town, and then after this fight yesterday, Black Twitter is saying, they tried that in a small town. Vigilante justice is all of a sudden the trendy thing, because that's what that was. That was vigilante justice, which, by the way, Clay Edwards has no problem with. I 100% support vigilante justice. And I'm glad that black folks have realized that it's not racist. It's actually fun to stand up and protect your folks. And what happened was, them white boys, they tried that in a small town, and they found out that you don't try that in a small town. That's trying things in a small town. That concept, that's not racist. That's common sense.
Yeah, and and I was just about to say that. That's why I have no issue with the song, because the song reigns true for everybody. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you know, whether it's mess around and find out, that can happen anywhere. I mean, and that's the thing. And I wish things wasn't so polarizing, man. I mean, things can happen to anybody. You stop messing with folks. Let's just stop messing with folks. But I don't know, man. I don't have a problem with the song. I ain't finna listen to it going down the street, but
no, I
mean, me either.
I mean, look, either you're a country fan or you're not. I get it. I mean, but you could take that same song and the same bass of that song and rewrite it for hip hop or rock or something else, and it still means the same thing. It doesn't have to be a racially divisive song to say try that in a small town, because I think that's exactly what happened, and it got caught on video this Saturday. And by no means am I defending those white folks just because they're white by any means. I ain't defending them. I think what they did was stupid. I do think the woman getting hit in the head once she was on the ground was aggravated assault, and I think you have to pursue that.
Yeah, the thing is, assault is assault, man. I mean, that's just like when people. When they want to charge Trump with all this stupid stuff, or they want to do this to Trump, you have to understand that it can one day happen to you. So people need to realize that if you're going to say, okay, this is okay for him to do this to this person, then when it turns around and it's happened to your grandmother, I mean, you need to have that same energy. So so I get it. Assault is assault, regardless of who did it. So I'm with you there. That was assault. Some stuff is just too far.
Yeah. All right, Ryan. Great call, brother. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Take care.
All right. Let's take another call here real quick. Hey, good morning. You're on there. Hello. Hey.
Hey, Blake, can you hear me?
Barely.
Okay. Yeah, the other day I had you on my truck phone and you couldn't hear me at all. So
I can hear you. What's up?
Okay, look, we got to get past this whole race thing that they're trying to divide us with, and we need to just start doing the right thing. Regardless of color, if I see four guys waylaying on a security guard, four against one, it's about to be 4 against 2.
Well, here's the problem. Here's what happened is what happened is other white people got in on whooping the white people's ass, but the black folks came in and just saw white and attacked. There was no differentiation. Like, no, we're on the same side here. We're on the same side. And to your point, I guess all we see is black or at least all they saw that day was black and white and divided. It became a chance to get a free lick for anything you wanted to do.
Yeah, and I see where I see why they would think that, because of how the media is trying to divide us. Politicians are trying to divide us. I see why people would think that, and somebody jumping in. But like I said, we need to start doing the right thing. I mean, if it's 4-on-1, it don't matter if that guy's black, Asian, white, doesn't matter. We, as a society, need to do better. We just need to stand up for what's right. Like with this goon squad, we need to hold the cops. You can't tell me that other people in Rankin County, the sheriff's department, and I'm not going to call out any names, but you can't tell me they didn't know this stuff was going on.
Yep.
We need to do what's right as a society for everybody, regardless of race, regardless of creed, color, religion, whatever. We just need to start standing up for what's right and protecting those who are being bullied and can't protect themselves.
Right.
And that's all I've got. If I were there on the boardwalk, I would have got the licks in on the white guys, because, 4-on-1, you know what that makes you if you're fighting somebody 4-on-1.
A female body part.
Yep.
Hey, brother, we're having some connection issues. Got to go. Appreciate the call. Let's take one more call here before the break.
Sure.
Hey, you're on there.
Hey, how you doing this morning?
Man, we're doing good. How about yourself?
Oh, good. Look, I'm going to bring up, you mentioned that Jason Aldean song that, something about being used in hip-hop.
Yeah.
There's actually I've got it saved to my phone, and I'll try to send it to you, Clay, where a hip-hop artist did put some lyrics to that song.
Yeah,
it's actually very good.
I found that yesterday, too. I found it on TikTok. I actually sent it over to Chad Wesley, and it's popped back up on my TikTok about 10 times since I sent it. And it's really good. It talks about coming together and this, that, and the other.
Right.
Yeah, good stuff.
And that's, until we put God back in the picture, I mean, I don't think anything's ever going to get corrected. But, that's where we got to go. We got to start with getting God back in our culture. And cause if you read the Bible, there's nothing mentioned about race in the Bible. I mean, God come to save us all, and that's where we got to start.
Great.
But I appreciate you, brother.
Hey, appreciate
Keep
you,
doing
man.
what you're doing.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, Shaun. To the point from Friday. Mm-hmm. It's you get people on the phone, and it's overwhelmingly the same sentiment.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I loved about. I texted you that Friday show, man. Those people calling in and getting so mad about this because I mean, what these guys did was awful. I mean, it's horrible, and it's not just a crime against these two folks, and God bless them too. It's a crime against all of us. This makes the entire state look like it's 1950 again, and that hurts all of us. That hurts everyone that lives here.
Yeah, and Therese brought up a great point in her article yesterday on Dark Horse Press. I highly recommend y'all going to check out Therese April's article on Dark Horse Press. She said, I can't help but ask the question why this little blurb about the other attack against the white guy was released as just a blurb the same day that this one, the big one, was on the black folks.
Yeah.
Are they trying? Now, she didn't say this. This is Clay saying this. Mm-hmm. Are they trying to stoke the racial flames by making you think they only did this to black folks? Because that's the way it comes across to me. And y'all can find that article there on her website. I was trying to pull it up to tell you the right title of it, but she's been very active the last couple of days, apparently.
Yeah, I see some of her Facebook posts. I haven't read it yet, though.
Yeah, so she's been very active.
Sorry, Therese. I'll read it today.
But anyway, I find that interesting because it does feel like that the Justice Department is trying to stoke those flames a little bit. And it's what they do.
Yeah, I mean, I think, let's be honest, Clay. Mississippi racism, it sells newspapers, right? Or used to. That's what the saying goes. I mean, it is what it is. It's terrible, and I hate it, but I think there's part of that to it.
So many of us want to move on from this damn Mississippi burning.
We do.
Move on from, even though I know the one in Canton, Time to Kill, is fictional.
Right.
We want to move on from these stereotypes, and we overcompensate. Now, I know people could argue that because there's some people who just don't care, and but I know for years, growing up in South Jackson, I overcompensated trying to be overly nice to black people.
Well, I think
I never wanted to be called a racist, but then they just started calling me a racist when I said I was supporting Donald Trump. But I'm like, well, whatever. When I started taking pictures of empty buildings, he's a white supremacist.
Well, just like the people that called in like the people called in Friday, I didn't think they were Biden voters. These are probably people that voted for Donald Trump, and they were mad about this. I think it goes to what you're saying. We're all on the defensive here about race, right? Because of the history of what happened, and so something like this happens, and it just impacts us at our soul, because this is something that we're on the defensive about anyway. And then we really believe that we've all moved past it. I mean, all of us in our hearts don't feel that way. So when you see this kind of thing happen with these kind of guys, it's just like a knife in the heart.
Agreed. Let's pick it back up on the other side of the break. This is the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran. Phone lines wide open, 601-879-0002. Welcome back to the Try That in a Small Town show of choice. We are live here on 103.9 FM WYAB. This segment is going to be brought to you by, how about my good friends over at Lakeland Glass and Tint. Get over there. See them today for all of your home, car, and business window tinting needs, automobile glass replacement needs, and vehicle wrapping needs. Turn that thing into a billboard and use it as a tax write-off, or just change the color of it, man. So many people are doing that nowadays. They're just getting these new vehicles or older vehicles that need a paint job even, and say, hey, you know what, man, these matte black colors, matte blue, matte red, whatever, that looks great. I think I want to do that instead of painting the vehicle. And they're going over there and they're changing the color of their vehicles. Man, I saw like a $200,000 Range Rover the other day that was wrapped in some kind of flip-flop wrap. It looked awesome. I mean, I wouldn't do it, but it looked cool. Get over there and let them do it for you. LakelandGlassandTint.com, located right there in Flowood, Mississippi. They got 2 locations. One does windshields. That's the Lakeland Drive location. The other does the tint, the wraps, the ceramic coating, and all of that. And that is right there on Flowood Drive across from the River Oaks Hospital. Man, phone lines jammed up. Let's take a call here. Sure. Hey, you're on there.
Yo, this is the old spook that sat by the door, baby. How you doing this morning?
Hey, brother. How are you? Thanks for calling in this morning.
Absolutely, man. Just wanted to call and tell you, man, we need some togetherness, black, white, all that shit together, man. So, also, I wanted to see if you were going to talk about the Creedels and Bobcat Porter John voting precinct.
Hey, you know, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought up that. You sent that to me yesterday, and I did share it. And we will. I'm going to stay on topic for this hour. Into the next hour, I'm definitely going to bring up some elections, and we'll bring up the Porter John, because I want to know, because that just screams corruption to me.
Absolutely, and that's what people should be. Black people, laws should be outraged over. But to speaking to you, man, I appreciate you. People say what they want to about you, but I know what you're really doing, and you're trying to bring people together. Like you said earlier, we're all tribal, but we all can come together. If I see you getting your head bashed in, I'm gonna come in there and help you, man. So, and I'm a black guy, so hang in there, baby, and we're rooting for you.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
Later.
All right, let's take another call here real quick. Phone lines are on fire this morning. Hey, you on there?
Hey, how you doing, Clay?
Hey, Derek. What's up, brother?
Hello?
Hey, you're here.
Hey, buddy, like I said, on that whole thing, again, it was unfortunate, but it needs to happen. You know what I mean?
Which one?
Talking about the Alabama.
Oh yeah. Hey, look. I hope I'm not coming across like I'm on Team White Guy here, because they effed around. They found out. You know. Yeah. My only argument is I just welcome to the party black folks who have discovered that vigilante justice is a good thing. It ain't racist.
Yeah. And
that's all I'm saying.
And then the part that's gonna be even worse is that one guy on his own free will came out and identified himself. Said, "Hey, look, I was there, but it wasn't me." You know, they say he's just trying to save his story right there in Selma. But then they pull the video. It's like, yeah, that's you right there throwing a punch, and that's you getting rocked. You know what I mean?
You know what, the white guy?
Yeah, his name Shipman or whatever.
Yeah, with the long hair and the black eyes and all that.
Yeah,
I saw that.
He said, I was there, but I was trying to walk away. They said, no, that's you right there, and that's your girlfriend comes from getting cold cocked.
Yeah, it's funny, that video. He goes, who would have thunk the 56-year-old had a hell of a punch?
Oh, there's a video of it? I'm saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it was unfortunate, but that's one of those legitimate examples that you always hear me talk about. If you give me a legitimate example, I'll fight it with you.
Yep.
You know, but yeah, it was unfortunate, but man, the memes just constantly keep rolling in.
Yeah, it is. It's internet culture. It is what it is. I just, again, I wish we could just be on the side of bad guys got beat up by good guys, not white guys got beat up by black guys. It's just.
Yeah, I wish it wasn't so polarized like the previous caller said. Yeah, I hate that it's polarized like that. But what you had is a bunch of entitled pricks, right?
Yep.
That parked right in front of the stairs where the people had to get off the dock and things like that. And they but unfortunately being a excuse my language, jackass isn't a crime, but, jumping on somebody is.
Look,
you know what I mean?
Look, I'm not here to do any apologizing for them. I can assure you, they people doing stuff like that. You got, man, especially when the other side, and it is what it is. It's the South. It's Alabama. It's Mississippi. When you're white and the guys are black, you got to know that if you do anything like that, the racial aspect is going to be the number one reason. It doesn't matter what he said to provoke you. Nothing else matters. It's gonna get escalated into a white versus black deal, and that's what I hate.
You know, I'm going to bring up the angle because it was clear from the video. One of them guys, the one in the red shorts, you could tell he was one of them MMA fighters because he kept trying to put people in the clinch and take them down and things like that, and his butt got rocked. After a while, he got tired of getting whooped. He just jumped in the water. But like once again, when he's hot-headed MMA fighter, you could tell he was by the way he was trying to take people down and stuff.
Yeah, but here
running and spearing into him, and he got rocked.
Well, the other thing too, and trying to look at it objectively, when the people all got on the boat to leave, they should have left them alone.
Yeah,
They went and boarded their boat, snatching them back off the boat to beat them some more and stuff. They should have let them go. I mean, other people outside of the original bunch are going to end up. I know that they're not going to get it, but there's a lot of charges that deserve to go around on both sides there.
Yeah, and I think that the police acted very rationally and very
Yeah, I thought so too.
I
thought so too.
All right, my friend, have a good one.
You too, Derek. Thanks, brother. Yeah, it was a wild incident.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like I said, unfortunately, when it's white, black, that's always going to be the number one thing. Mm-hmm. It ain't going to be a-hole versus good guy.
Yeah.
And like we talked about during the break here, you know, you brought this up. I want to make sure I give you credit for it, but I'm going to lead us here.
Yeah.
And I've been saying this for years too. You know, as a white guy that grew up and lived in Jackson, Mississippi as long as I did, if I have a conflict, if I have a problem with somebody, it's probably going to be a black guy just because of the demographics. You live in a city that's overwhelmingly majority one race. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to use me and Jackson as the example here. No different than if you were black and lived in Rankin County.
Okay.
If you had a situation with somebody, it's probably going to be somebody on the other side just because of the demographics. And that's who you intertwine with the most.
My example, living in Tokyo, if you get into fights with the Japanese guy because you're in Tokyo.
Yeah. You know, it's like I bring up Brad Kamikaze Franklin a lot. I just think he's an a-hole. Mm. It ain't because he's black. I just don't like him.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter, right? He is what he is.
But being a white guy, I can't I call him an a-hole or say I don't like him. It must be because he's black. No, it's because he's an a-hole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a jerk. I don't like him.
Yeah.
He's a punk. You know, and he feels the same way about me.
Mm-hmm. And it's probably not because you're white either. It's just he doesn't like you.
Well, he does. He says it's because I'm racist.
Okay.
You know, that of course makes me mad. Mm-hmm. You know, because I don't think I am.
Right.
I don't care, just because I'm opinionated and I'll call people out that suck at what they do. I don't think that makes me a racist.
No, I don't think so at all. I mean, I think I've told people this before. I wouldn't be coming here every week if I thought you were racist at all. I don't think you're a racist. It's we're trying to be post-racial is the way I look at it. And
it's okay to bash white politicians all you want, but when a white guy bashes a black politician, I'm only doing it because he's black.
Yeah, I mean, I bash Chokwe on here all the time, and it's got nothing to do with his race. It's just I think he's incompetent. So
let's wrap this one up on that. We'll come back. We'll close out the hour with a short segment. Then we got a whole another hour to go with Shaun Yurtkuran here on the Clay Edwards Show. Y'all guys are slaying the phone lines and the text line this morning. I am going to read some of your text. We'll be right back. Mm-hmm. All right, welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. As we end this first hour here, let's see, we got about a minute according to my clock here. A couple text messages on the Guns and Gear text line. Anthony says, I have a black friend that I would give my kidney to if he needed it, and told me one day I'm a racist against anyone who is racist against me. And that is very strong, true statement. Too many texts to read here in a minute, but don't be so anti-racist that you're racist. That would be my message to people out there. There's now this movement. You can't just not be racist. You have to be anti-racist, which means you end up becoming racist again. The old anti-racist, racist. We got to get past that. There's a lot of that going on around here. A good example of the anti-racist racist would be Chokwe. Brad Franklin, those type people.
Because Chokwe blames everything on race.
Yeah, they're anti-racist, racist. Yeah. All right, this is the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran. We got the top of the hour news break here. We will be back to discuss all this and more. It's election day. I want to talk about Chris Daniel, and Delbert Hoseman. We'll be right back. unfiltered, no sugar added, not a drop of sugar. I mean, we are so sugar-free, we're in ketosis here on the Clay Edwards Show. We are so sugar-free. Ain't no sugar in our tank. So sugar-free, we are on ketosis. This is the Clay Edwards Show, the free-range human show of choice with Shaun Yurtkuran here in the studio with me on a special Election Day 2 for Tuesday edition of the Clay Edwards Show. This segment going to be brought to you by my good friends over at Ellis Autoplex. Come see me. I'll be out there this afternoon from about noon until I got tied up in court all day yesterday. I'm going to tell you all about that. An interesting experience. I was in the courtroom for John Sullivan's rape trial, the Rankin County tax assessor.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you were pleading guilty to something. I'm like, what's that?
No. I was an observer.
Okay.
I was an observer, and we'll get to that. So that's what I did all day yesterday. But I will be at Ellis Autoplex today till 6 o'clock at least. Come buy a car from your boy. We got all the trucks you could want. Check us out at ellisautoplex.com. We're loaded up on Toyota 4Runners for some reason. I love them. Come buy one from me. Can't buy a better vehicle. Highest resale value on the road outside of, I think, the Jeep Cherokee. I mean, the Jeep Wrangler. And I know people will get mad and want to fight me about this. Jeeps ain't daily drivers.
No, man.
You may be forcing yourself to drive one every day, but a Jeep ain't a daily driver. A 4Runner is. So as far as daily drivable vehicles, 4Runner's got the highest resale value on the road for a reason. Because, you can find one for 150,000 miles, and it's still $25,000.
Yeah.
I mean, they hold their value because they stay together.
It's a Toyota, man. That's what it is.
It is.
I mean, I've got you've seen my Toyota FJ Cruiser. It's a 2007. I'm still driving it.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm never giving it up.
I'm a Toyota guy. I spent the bulk of my career at a Toyota dealership. That's all I've driven up until here lately. And Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, I'll get back to it at some point. Mm-hmm. And I sold my Tacoma to pay for a failed wedding. But
can't fault you there.
That's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But anyway,
that's very bipartisan for all of us, I guess, right? Everybody can get together on that one.
My personal email address is toyotaclay@gmail. I'm a Toyota guy, so I don't use that email too much anymore. I wouldn't have given it out on the radio. But neither here nor there. Check us out at ellisautoplex.com. We buy cars too. Come sell us your car. Just like Guns and Gear buys guns, sell us your car. We're going to give you a real check, not a marketplace scam, not a fake check, none of that stuff. I'm going to come get a real local check from Ellis Autoplex. See your boy Clay Edwards. Make sure you ask for me, though. I can't sell you a vehicle if you don't ask for me. Put a lot of effort into that. Ask for Clay. That'll be my new hashtag. Ask for Clay. Call Clay today. Let's take a call here. Oh, yeah, ellisautoplex.com. I believe we got Derek back on the line. Hey, brother, you got another thought?
Hey, now, real quick, I just left the polling place, and, man, it should have been packed all the way up and down the street, because today is the day we let these people know how we really felt about what they did during the scamdemic, scaredemic, pandemic, whatever you want to call it. The polling place should be lined up with patriots and conservatives.
And it wasn't.
No, not yet, at least,
Well, it's early.
I made sure I made my way.
Yeah, I'm going, as soon as I leave here, I'm going by mine. I promise.
I mean, if you're a freedom-loving patriot, if you're just a decent citizen, you should be mad as HE double hockey sticks today, and you should show it by the way with your vote. That's all I had to say, Clark.
Amen, brother. Thank you, Derek.
On that same vein, excuse me, I always tell you, I make my world tour to different bars on Sundays, right, when I do Sunday fun and talk to people. And the theme, I was talking to a lot of different people on Sunday. I was hanging out over at Martin's, and the feeling's the same. They're like, man, I was going to vote for Delbert, but these ads, man, I can't do it. I heard like 7 different people tell me that they felt like Delbert's ads were so offensive to them that they switched their vote to McDaniel.
Yeah. Look, I've talked to people that I talked to people that I consider white collar conservatives, country club conservatives, that have already absentee voted, and they voted for McDaniel. I think we had a record number, over 40,000 absentee ballots have been turned in.
Yeah, I saw that on
Kingfisher's site. Let's take a call here real quick. Hey, brother, you on there?
Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, guys, let me ask y'all something. I ain't got a dog in this hunt, but do y'all, and I hope it don't happen, y'all think there's going to be some more arrests at the Rankin County Sheriff's Department?
I'll say this. I'd be surprised if not. I don't want to, and that is no inside sources. That's no nothing. That's just knowing that the feds are here and my understanding of how they do business, according to Shaun, I would just be surprised. Yeah, I hope not. I want to go on record. I hope not. I hope they've got their guys, and that's the end of it. I hope they find nothing else, and this was isolated. But my gut says that's probably not the case.
But Shaun, correct me if I'm wrong. To see somebody plead guilty at a first arraignment, that's damn near unheard of, ain't it?
Yeah, I mean, what they did is they pled to bill of information, so they bypassed the indictment process, the grand jury. And whenever we would do that, I did that, of course, on the state level. It's kind of like, say, some guy, he's got a bunch of auto thefts out there, and he's been arrested for them, but they've never been presented to the grand jury, and he wants to batch all the stuff up to get a lighter sentence. So yeah, I mean, what that tells me, your feelings are correct. Like, that means it's so bad that they wanted to plead guilty to it and work out some sort of deal before it ever had to be presented to a grand jury.
Well, this is my guess. Say what y'all want to. I like Brian, but I don't believe he didn't have nothing to do. Did not know this wasn't going on. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I like Brian, but he knew something.
Oh, I've known Brian since I was in high school. He was a town cop in Puckett. I've always liked him, and so it's nothing, personal, but it kind of the way I look at it, I told Clay this. I mean, if that's your organization, the buck stops with you. It just does. And if that culture was created up there where this kind of thing, apparently, because reading through their text messages and things that they'd said and done, this wasn't their first rodeo. I mean, these guys,
Let me put it this way. I'm not saying that he knew that they were torturing people, but I do think that he knew more than what he's telling people as far as when he found out it was happening.
Right.
Put it that way.
Yeah, I think it's I think definitely that these guys thought that they could get away with doing, or that they've done this. It seems like they've probably done this in the past. That's what all the indications lead to.
But guys, for decades, we've all heard black people say that they were scared to go to Rankin County. Mm-hmm. We've all heard that.
Yep.
I've heard that since I was a kid. And some really good people.
Yeah.
And J.B. Torrance was known about it. J.B. Torrance used to pull black people over and arrest them, and then would turn around, and if they deeded their property over, they got the charges dropped.
Yeah.
That happened in the 60s and the 70s through J.B. Torrance. Most of the property he had on General Road, that's how he got it. So I've been told.
I didn't know that.
That's what I've been told. Guys, y'all have a good day.
Thanks,
brother.
Well, speaking of the, we were going to talk about this earlier. Christian Dedman apparently is the cousin of Daryl Dedman.
Yeah. So I got it in my notes here to bring that up. I'm glad you did. You cannot punish a family member.
No, of course not.
For another family member's sins. But man, how do you let that happen twice?
Whew, I tell you, I was at the Hinds County DA's.
Within when did that happen? 2011?
2011.
So within 15 years, 13 years, 12, whatever. But then say inside of 12 years, you have two Dedmans, first cousins, that both are in prison for one's beyond a violation of civil rights. Mm-hmm. The guy's dead, murder. Yeah. And one is for a violation of civil rights, amongst other things.
Sure.
Both for racially, I don't know what happened out there that night was racially motivated, but that's the way that's being painted. So regardless, it is what it is. That's tough. That's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow. Mm-hmm. I was talking to my mom. She was MBN.
Okay.
In the 70s.
Oh, wow.
And she was saying that she thought she worked with their dad or grandfather there. Mm-hmm. Didn't say nothing they doing anything like that or whatever, but the family had been in law enforcement
for a long time.
Mm-hmm. And man, it's just a bad look.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the stuff we said earlier about, as Mississippians, we have a complex about this race stuff.
Sure.
Like, we really do try to move on from it. I know that people might not think that, but both sides are guilty of it.
Mm-hmm.
Both sides. With the way we segregate ourselves and this, that, and the other. And social media had helped none because it took a bunch of people who otherwise, it's weird. We segregate in real life, but we get into this melting pot of social media and start slinging mud at one another.
Yeah, I think we do that, but I think what we talked about, the callers on Friday, I think, man, we're also ready to move past this. And you can tell that there's just a groundswell of anger in the community that this happened. You know, like, I mean, there's all these accusations that get thrown around about, this guy's a racist, you're a racist, blah, blah, blah. But when some real racism happens that we all agree, this was racist, this was terrible, everybody's mad about it. Yeah. And I think that should show you the way people really feel. You know, how people's, nobody's defending these guys. And it's just like, we're just talking about Daryl Dedman. I was at the Hinds County DA's office in 2011 when that went on. I wasn't, not the prosecutor on it, but, and, we worked with the feds for years. They got everybody that was involved in that. I mean, people that just said hello to Daryl Dedman went to prison. It was intensive. That was the work by the Department of Justice and, then an assistant DA that worked in our office, and I won't name him because he probably doesn't want me to. But they did wonderful work on that case. It was one of the most horrible things I've ever seen in my life. The James Craig Anderson, the man that was actually killed by Daryl Dedman, happened to be on my jury a year prior to this, or 2 years prior to that, a year prior, on the Stanley, the one I'm going to Los Angeles for ABC News. Yeah. That case, he was actually on the jury and voted guilty to find Stanley Cole guilty, and then he was, a year later, he was run over by Daryl Dedman. That's interesting. I never knew that. Yeah. He's a good man. It was a horrible, horrible crime, and and it just that crime, of course, was a crime against Mississippi, is what I always look at it. It was a crime that made us all look like, they're up to their same stuff again. And now here we go, 12 years later, it's the same family. And I know you can't, like you said, you can't link them together, but I just thought that was, there's some irony there. It is. It's a bad look. And I'll be the guy to say it. I hate it for the family members that ain't about that life. Because now you're sitting there with this last name. Mm-hmm. And it's like, do I go change my name? Yeah. I don't want to be a scarlet letter through the rest of my life with this. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. Again, I try to be very careful as I've gotten to do this a little bit more about making assumptions. Sure. And, casting too wide of a net and stuff. But that's bad. I hate it for the family that didn't sign up for this stuff. Right, me too. I mean, I feel bad for them. I agree exactly what you're saying. Like the other cops, their family members. Yep. What they did was screwed up. But I hate it for their family members because they made the same sacrifices that good cops' family members made to be law enforcement families. Sure. They had to take that mental strain of every time your spouse leaves the house or your dad leaves the house to go be a cop. Does he come back home? They had to go through all that. What he was doing while he was out there in the cop world, that's not their fault. No, I mean, and let's also look about all our friends that are police officers that we're obviously, we definitely agree on how pro police you and I are, and I mean, look what it does. It makes their job harder. This makes their stuff harder. They're already in a tough environment with people, the way the national narrative is about the police, and now this just doesn't help what those guys have to do every day. No, I mean, let's just be honest here. Imagine being imagine being a Rankin County deputy, white guy, and having to pull over a black guy in Rankin County right now. I mean, I don't know what you do at this point, right? You just got to do your job. Yeah, And I mean, but and you're just a good cop that's doing your job, and you're not involved in any of this, right? I mean, we got a ton of friends out there. I mean, same. It's tough, man. Let's take a break. Come back. Let's reset. I want to talk about this John Sullivan rape trial, the Rankin County tax assessor, soon to be former Rankin County tax assessor, John Sullivan's rape trial. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. This segment is going to be brought to you by our friends over at A1 Gear and Auto. Get over there today, Highway 49 South in Florence, for all your automotive repair needs, whether it's check engine light or your AC not working. They can handle it all at A1 Gear and Auto. But what they really specialize in is your ring and pinion, rear end, all that good stuff. Get over there, check them out today, let them take care of it. They're the industry leader. They specialize in Jeeps. I don't know if they specialize in Jeeps, but Jeep owners love A1 Gear and Auto. You can ride by at any time and see a bunch of Jeeps out there waiting to be worked on. Give them a shout today. Let's go see Justin and his team right there in Florence, hometown owned, locally operated, good folks. A1 Gear and Auto. If you're heading south on Florence, you're down there at Tom's Fried Pies, something ain't quite right on your car, scoot on down south about another half mile, something like that, to A1 Gear and Auto right there on the right if you're heading south, right before Gunner Road. Big white building, big red sign, A1 Gear and Auto. All right, Shaun, yesterday I was in a Rankin County courtroom as an observer, and it was the soon-to-be former tax assessor, John Sullivan's rape trial. Now, Is he on trial right now? I've read about it when it happened, and I remember the facts. But
he's on trial, and our Merida Coxwell is the defense attorney.
Good choice.
Yes, and I was listening to Merida do the opening statements, and so I'm going to say this. I'm taking the assumption of guilt out of this. Let's just pretend for a second he's innocent of the rape.
Okay.
He was 52, 53 years old at the time. The girl was 19. And her family was in their front row as the victim's family.
Okay.
That's got to be tough, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting back in the back. I'm listening to Merida paint the defendant's story. Mm-hmm. You'll be able to relate to this way more than I will. And, so it's obviously going to be polished to make the defendant look as good as possible in this scenario, right?
Yeah,
we can agree on that.
Yeah, that's a job.
This is the defense attorney we're talking about here.
Yeah.
And I still wanted to throw up.
Really? It was that bad?
It was that bad. It was, and guys, plug your ears if you got kids in the car. Change the channel for a second. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. For the family that had to sit there and hear Merida explain a 52, 53-year-old man performing oral on a 19-year-old girl, and it's the father of a young girl. It took all I had to restrain myself in that courtroom, and I was looking over at the family. So I've come to the conclusion. I say all that to say this. I've come to the conclusion that at bare minimum, John Sullivan's a piece of crap. And if I could cuss right now, I would.
Yeah.
At bare minimum. Even if he didn't rape the girl, the fact that you're 52, 53 years old.
She's 19.
Poaching 19-year-olds from bars or whatever.
That's disgusting.
Just after you've gotten a DUI. Mm-hmm. On the way home from another bar, you get out on the DUI and you still manage to go home and have a jacuzzi party with a bunch of kids.
Yeah. And you're an elected politician as well.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that too. I read when it happened, I read one of the statements he made to the police was, "Oh, well, I'm not running again anyway." Is that what he said?
Something like that. And, refer to the girls in the truck when he got the DUI as a bunch of whores.
Yeah, I read that too. Yeah.
And I heard the cop's statement, the Byram cop that gave him the DUI. Mm-hmm. They weren't allowed to say DUI in this because they couldn't. It was supposed to only be about what happened.
Yeah, it's evidence of other crimes. Sure.
Yeah, at the house. So, but he was like, "Well, what did he tell you he was going to do?" And I may have a word or two off here, but something to the extent of he told the cop, and this is on video, that he was going to have a night of jacuzzi, the P word, and lust.
Jeez.
Who says lust?
Actually, why are you going to tell the cop that?
Yeah.
Like, who tells the cop that? Is he bragging? Sounds like he's bragging almost.
Yeah. So, Rankin County has got some reconciliation to take care of, some reconciling, some healing that it needs to do between your elected official, your tax assessor, out there doing stuff of this nature. People say, I don't call Rankin County out. Here you go.
It's a Rankin County edition of the show, right?
You got a rogue tax assessor out here, at minimum, admitting to trying to have sex with a 19-year-old girl, performing oral sex on her. Her mental capacity, I don't know. They're drunk, not drunk, whatever. Irrelevant. Then you got these cops out there doing what they're doing. There needs to be, and I understand that they do a great job keeping crime out of Rankin County. You can't argue that for the most part. But there's got to be a way to have a reckoning over there and clean house a little bit.
Well, I think you're going to see that. I mean, like I was describing off air, the FBI just did exhaustive work in that Daryl Devon case. And I remember, I think they conducted something like 900 interviews or something like that. I mean, they really did a lot of work. And that's what's going to happen in Rankin County right now. If they've not, I'm sure they've already begun. I mean, they've already been doing that. And so I think you're not going to be able to throw a rock without hitting an FBI agent in Rankin County for the next 3 or 4 years.
Now, you were saying they even put people in jail that had been to that party.
That's what I remember. I
feel like I remember that too.
It's been so long. I think they did. It wasn't. There's people that went to jail for violating civil rights, if I remember this correctly, that were not at the actual murder of James Craig Anderson. I got to ask my buddy about that. I think that's right though.
Yeah.
And you're going to see that here. I bet they're going to they're going to look up that place with a microscope, man. I mean, it's just going to, anytime anything like this may have possibly happened, who knew about it, all those kinds of things, it's all coming out. So it's going to be a rocky road for Rankin County for a while now, I have a feeling.
Yeah, from a law enforcement standpoint.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be it. And if you're a citizen of Rankin County, this, as one myself, that depends on a solid sheriff's department, a solid Brandon police department, a solid law enforcement out that way.
Yeah.
Because you can't let your guard down and still let Jackson criminals, or from anywhere else for that matter, come over. You still have to be able to do what you do.
Yeah, I mean, they're still gonna do police. I mean, obviously, like we said before, there's tons of good cops in Rankin County. Yeah. It's not like they're all these guys.
Like you can enforce the law without having a torture house.
Yeah, you don't need a dildo, right? I mean, you don't need you don't need to. You can skip that part. It's unbelievable.
Of all.
Everybody needs to read that bill of information. It's on Kingfish's site. If anyone wants to look at it, it's just horrific.
So that's the first time I think I'd really read a whole indictment from top to bottom. First time in a while, anyway. I had not read all the Trump stuff. All that's kind of boring to me. This, however,
it's pretty salacious. Yeah,
it's salacious, and it's happened in my backyard.
Yeah. So,
and as a staunch supporter of law enforcement, I'm like, hey, look, I was telling Therese this on the phone the other day. I was like, it's like part of you feels betrayed. As somebody who gets up here every day and supports, I'll say it, blindly supports law enforcement, and, and kind of say, hey, you know what? Sometimes you got to bend the rules. Sometimes you got to break rules when necessary. Within reason. Maybe smack somebody around a little bit, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down for that. I know what you're trying to say. That's what cops, I've told you the stole JPD stories I hear from back in the day. And I mean, they bend the rules sometimes, and that's okay because there's some times it needs to be bended. But this ain't bending the rules. This is no rules.
Yeah, this is no rules.
I mean, this ain't roughing somebody up. I mean, it's a little bit more excessive than that. And
it is. And, but that's why I got on here Friday. It's also why, people got on me for not saying something about this for so long. Well, as a supporter of law enforcement, I really wanted to wait to see the evidence.
It's funny. That's what a lot of the audience calls in when I say that about Trump, or like, I want to see the evidence, or about Biden or whoever. But I mean, that's what we should do, shouldn't we? Yeah. Should we wait to see if somebody's guilty and what there is, and are they going to plead guilty? Then if they do, hey, look, now we're commentating about it because they pled to this. They said they did it.
Yeah.
There's no debate of whether they're guilty or not. They said they're guilty. So, I mean,
people got on me a little bit because I made the comment on the show, and then I made it again on a video I did. I was like, but here's the deal. I've looked back, and people ask me why I support law enforcement so much. Well, and I just looked over at Rankin and Madison County, having lived in Jackson as long as I did, and it's like, I'm a little jealous because the cops in those areas, and I ain't throwing the baby out with the bathwater. There's obviously good cops in Jackson and Hinds County.
Yeah, tons.
If you're a good cop, I ain't talking to you right now.
Guys, good cops running for sheriff today, too.
Yeah, absolutely. I ain't talking to you if you're a good cop. I'm not. But I would look over there, and I was like, man, in the counties around us here, or even in some of the cities in Hinds County, Clinton, Byram, etc., they got a real F around and find out attitude.
Sure.
Jackson and overwhelming large part of Hinds County Sheriff's Department, for that matter, kind of had a "it ain't my effing job" attitude, and you could look at how that pays dividends both directions.
Well, I think we're also seeing it too. Look at the Capitol Police.
Yeah,
I mean, and I was talking to a friend of mine on Sunday,
and I didn't mention them because they didn't exist when I moved.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I'm just saying, but I think they're a good example of like F around and find out, and done right, and good policing. I mean, my neighborhood, I don't know. I mean, somebody may know this more than me, but I haven't really heard of any crime happening in the last 6 months at least. Something may have happened, but I usually always hear about all these threads, and everybody talks to me about it. And
I'm sure some domestic stuff has happened, but you can't control what happens in somebody's house. But like violent street crime, ain't happening in Belhaven anymore.
Not from what I've heard. Now somebody may know something's happened, and I just didn't hear about it. But like I'm usually on notice about this kind of stuff, right? Yeah. Because I'm like in these group threads or next door or whatever. We're all talking, and 2 years ago it was like a war zone up there. I mean, I was about to start putting sandbags in front of my house and build a machine gun nest. It was getting to that point. Yeah. But now I just now walk my dog at night down my street, and it's not an issue.
Talk about having to like build a machine gun nest and this, that, and the other, and then throw in the no water thing.
Yeah,
to boot. It's like, come on, man.
I did want to tell you this too. So I noticed, we talked about this like a month ago on the show, the homes in Belhaven Farm started selling again. And I've noticed the values have all gone up. And I really attribute this to the Capitol Police because I really do. I mean, I know everybody I'm like the cheerleader, but like, I think that people are like, wait, it's safe. I can live there.
Well, yeah, I mean, that and Ted Hennepin.
Yeah, and Ted
Like,
Hennepin.
to me,
that's another thing. Yep.
Here's my thing. Mr. Anti-Jackson here. With the water right and the Capitol Police, I would absolutely move back to Jackson.
Yeah.
In that general vicinity. Mm-hmm. Where Chocowee ain't got no control over the water.
No.
And I got Capitol Police, I ain't got to worry about JPD. And when I say JPD because Chocowaye's in charge of JPD.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. I don't want anything that he's in charge of to affect my day-to-day life.
Sure.
His police, his water. I don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he can't even get the garbage right.
For sure.
Richard's Disposal takes hot days off.
Yeah, it's hot.
Waste Management doesn't.
I don't remember that. They always came by.
Well, I can tell you, they don't.
Yeah.
They still pick mine up.
Right. I mean.
Let's take a break real quick. We'll be right back. All right, we're back here on 103.9 FM WYAB with Shaun Yurtkuran. This is the Clay Edwards Show. This segment, real quick, it is, well, somebody just texted me and asked what the text line is. What's your next, can you give me a call or your next break? Oh, sorry. Thought it said, what's the text line? But you're texting the text line. This segment going to be brought to you by our friends out at Mercy House Teen Challenge Auto Center right there in Crystal Springs. Man, are you looking for a vehicle, $10,000, $20,000 range? Tired of shopping, tired of looking on Facebook Marketplace? You know, like I know, that is a hard market to satisfy people's expectations for what a $10,000 vehicle are not what they should be. That at Mercy House, they do the best job they can selling you the best vehicle they can for $10,000. And up there, they got some cheaper ones too here and there. You just need to pay attention to the website, mercyhouseautocenter.com. Get down there. They can help you out with your credit and everything. So check them out. And if you're looking to donate a vehicle, business owners, you have a fleet of vehicles that you'd like to donate, you can get the tax write-off for it instead of having to worry about sending it to the auction and dealing with all the nonsense. Get in touch with them. mercyhouseautocenter.com. Individuals, you got an old car running or not in your driveway. They'll come tow it off. You got a clean title, donate it to them, get that tax write-off. Yeah, trust me, you'd rather have that than have to deal with a bunch of wackos on Facebook Marketplace and then weirdos coming to your house and
they're mean, man. I almost got robbed one time doing that. I was trying to sell an Apple Watch, and I met somebody. It was a whole ordeal.
Kingfish got mad at me one time. I did a video out here in this parking lot at the radio station about Facebook Marketplace. I said, do not meet anybody in Jackson, Mississippi off Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, it's not.
I was like, go to a police precinct or go to really, that's it. Go to a police precinct and do it there.
They've got a lot of police stations have like a little area where you can meet where they do that.
I know they do in North Mississippi. I don't know if they've done any down here, but I mean, surely any parking lot at a police precinct will work.
Just pull up to the police station, right?
Kingfisher's like, everybody in Jackson ain't a dang criminal. I was like, I get it, but I'm not meeting nobody in Jackson.
This happened to me in Clinton, actually, of all places.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, obviously it can happen anywhere. But yeah, I mean, look, be careful with Marketplace. I keep 20-something cars on there at all times, but they got to come to the dealership. I'm not going to them.
Sure.
I'm not taking a questionable certified cashier's check.
Yeah,
it ain't happening, dog. You bring me a cashier's check, I'm gonna verify it. If we verifying funds,
sure.
You call their bluff real quick. Worst that can happen is you don't get your car stolen or your side by side stolen. Anyway, so that's all I got to say about that. Check them out. mercyhouseautocenter.com. All right. I have got Shaun here in the studio with me. Let's talk about some election stuff real quick.
Yeah, I guess we got to.
Have we worked our way to that? Have we buttoned up everything?
I think we've exhausted the deputies and everybody else. Huh?
All right, because I mean, I don't want anybody to say, Clay, you ain't talked about it. Can the record be striked that Clay Edwards talked? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, we spent the whole show on that today. We were going to talk about the election, and then it's turned into, which I mean, it was something good. It was a good thing we need to talk about. It's something we need to talk about.
People need to heal. They need to move on from it. They need to talk about it. Whatever. I get it. And look, I ain't saying that we'll never talk about it again. I just don't know if we're going to lead shows with it. Mm-hmm. But if you call in and something relevant comes up from it, we'll talk about it. But that's kind of my thoughts on it. This will be available on podcast. Y'all can go back and listen to it as much as you want. All right. So today's the election. I think the big one, obviously, is McDaniel versus Delbert.
Yeah. Boy, people are fired up about that, man.
Look, so I'm getting a lot of texts from people. Let's take a call real quick. Hey, Ryan, you're on there.
Hey, real quick, man. I got my mother in the car, man. We just left the voting booth, and my mother, she voted Democrat, and I voted Republican. She was like, well, what's the difference? I'm gonna hang up the phone, and I want y'all to explain quickly, if you can, the difference between Republicans and why they're there.
Yeah, I'll do the best I can for it. Thanks, brother.
All right.
Hey to your mom, too. Hey, Mom. Oh, real quick, I think conservatives, if that's what you want to call it nowadays, is going to be more pro-law enforcement, less government in your life. And I think Democrat is, unfortunately, they've painted themselves as anti-law enforcement, pro-criminal, pro-corruption, pro-witch hunt, pro-abortion, pro-wide-open borders. Which I think at the end of the day,
baby eating.
Baby
what
eaters,
else is it?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're pro wide open border, you're taking food off the table of America. You're sending, and this is both parties here when we're talking about national stuff. Both parties are guilty as hell of sending all our money over to Ukraine and all these other, fighting these wars overseas. We need to get away from all that. That's one of the things I think Shaun and I tend to agree on is we're both anti-war.
Yeah, obviously I'm, pro the war in Ukraine, but it's not because I'm pro-Ukrainians. I'm anti-Russia. That's I'm not a fan of the Russians. I don't care who's against them. I'm with them. So it's this kind of things. But we think we agree on how much foreign aid we send and all the money that we spend that way could be used better here. I do agree with that.
Locally, I think it just proves out that Democrats can't run municipalities well. Local Democrat policy has been overtaken by national Democrat policy or narratives or whatever, and it doesn't work on a local level.
Who was Ryan voting for, by the way? I wonder. Did he say?
Well, he said Republican. So you can only vote one or the other. In a primary. So
yeah, he was in the like today in my precinct. Obviously, it's Tyree Jones and David Blunt. Those are the two races that I think are kind of like on the Democratic side. Where I live that matter. Obviously, like you said, the statewide races are always going to be the Republican side right now because that's just the political climate that we're in. So I think statewide, that, of course, the Chris McDaniel-Delbert thing is going to be the big ticket for everybody. I know you had him on the show, but I don't know that Tate's primary is going to be that hotly contested.
No, I agree. I think if Witcher gets 20%, it's a hell of a protest vote.
Yeah, that's a heck of a win for him.
Heck of a show.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
And here's what I'm going to say about Dr. John. I don't think he's one of these candidates that's going away after win, lose, or draw. Let's just say he loses, right? He's not going to be one of these flash in the pan guys. I think he's going to still be, just based on what I've seen, him and his wife, Brooke, they're fighters. That's when they even got into this to begin with, is they were already on the scene.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to see. I want to see people, hey, you may have lost. That don't mean it's going to be the last time you're running for something. Maybe governor was a bit much to be your first dab at this.
Sure.
But I think they're going to be fighters. I think they're going to be here for a while. And I think that's the problem we see in a lot of these pop-up elections. Not pop-up elections, but a lot of these elections, these pop-up candidates will flash in the pans, and then you never see them again. You never see them at another grip and grin. You never see them at another Republican breakfast or a rally or whatever the case may be. Just like, I lost, I'm going to lick my wounds, you're never going to see me again. That's not what I want to see. I want to see people who stay in the fight.
That's a good point, though. When you think about it, we could talk about Chris McDaniel. Say what you want about him. Stuck around.
Yeah.
He's stuck around.
And he took an embarrassing butt whooping in 2014.
He did. It was completely embarrassing. And then did he ran for Senate twice, I think?
Yeah.
And then, and now this, I don't want, and so this is like the fourth time, is it?
Like fourth statewide or election,
right?
Don't get me to lying on that. I know about 14, and I know about now.
Yeah,
I don't want to sit here and pretend I'm a political historian.
He ran. I think he ran against Sidney Hyde Smith twice, maybe. I think that's right.
Maybe so. But again, keep swinging. You never know when you'll win. I think he's got as good of a chance of winning today as he's ever had. He's in the Senate, the state Senate.
Sure.
He is a senator here in the state. So, but I think he's got a good chance of winning today. And
he has his best chance other than 14. 14 he could have won, obviously, but I think right now, today is I think it's a surprising shot, too, that nobody really thought that he had a chance. It was kind of just Delbert was going to mail this one in. And
I think the mail-ins is what ended up getting Delbert.
Yeah,
negativity.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. This is something that Delbert should have just kind of rubber stamped this race and got reelected. But he's been reelected from different offices since 2007. It's not been an issue for him, but somehow this race became really competitive over the last 2 months, you would say?
Yeah,
maybe this thing really hit the end. And I really attribute that to Delbert, to be honest with you, because his ads are so horrible that they've just turned so many, like I was actually going to go vote for him today in the Republican primary, but I'm like, nah, I'm going to go vote in the Democratic primary.
It's way out of character.
Yeah.
For his public image anyway. I mean,
is.
He may be a nasty person behind the scenes, and this is his character, but publicly his image is not what he's done this race.
No, that not at all. And it's never. He's just the guy with the funny commercial. Like that's what everybody remembers him. Like it's not, and he did voter ID. I mean, that's what remember him.
I heard another story the other day. I won't mention from who, but somebody that a lot of us love and trust. That told the very same story that you tell about how hard of a worker he is, how he's always down at the Capitol.
Yeah,
and that's important to me, but I don't like the work you're doing.
Right. Yeah, I guess that matters. Right.
Your hard work tearing down middle class Mississippians.
Well, I think he could have just. I mean, I think there was enough people that agreed with him where he would have been able to win this easily, especially say what you want about Chris McDaniel. I mean, he's polarizing to a lot of people. He's got that about him. So I think Delbert could have, but Delbert just played in. Now he may, my prediction is Delbert's probably going to squeak by today. I think that's probably going to happen.
That's probably the most likely outcome, but I'm not going to be the least bit surprised if I was a unbiased watcher, I would go bet $100 on Delbert winning.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think I would too. But I mean, if Chris pulls it out, I'm not going to be shocked. Like if that happens, I'm like, and it's weird.
I'm voting for McDaniel, and I hope he wins. I'm just saying, just like Trump in 2016, I'll be more surprised if he does.
I can't believe I'm going to say this too. Like, part of me is looking like Chris like an underdog, and I never would ever have thought of. I mean, I'm not voting the Republican Party primary anyway. I never would have pulled for him. But part of me is kind of like, okay, you know what? This Delbert stuff was pretty terrible last month. I wouldn't. It's not going to hurt my feelings if Chris wins.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. Take a break. I don't think you're going to have that big shift of Democrats going over and voting for Delbert, voting Republican this time. I think there's some important Democrat stuff going on.
Yeah,
some races there that I think they want to get in on. I think you got that slobber knocker going on in Jackson between Pastor Pickett and
David Blunt.
David Blunt.
If
they can't vote on that if they go in here and waste it on this lieutenant governor thing. So.
And I wanted to vote for sheriff, obviously too, so that's why I'm not. But I would have leaned towards Delbert, but I think he's also turned a lot of Democrats off with the kinds of ads he's running.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back. The last couple of minutes of an election day edition of the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran here live on 103.9 FM WYAB. Hey guys, look, in closing, get out and vote today. This is what all them wars have been fought over. This is what a lot of folks have died over. This is why we left the colonies to come over here and be able to have some say-so in the damn thing. Regardless of how rigged you think elections are, how much corruption there is, get out and vote. That's what we owe it to our ancestors, our forefathers, to get out and do the thing. Shaun, you got anything?
No, same thing, man. Just get out there and vote. Vote for whoever you want, just as long as you vote. So that's good. And I guess we'll be back here tomorrow to talk about recap all this stuff.
Yeah. That's right. Shaun will be back with me tomorrow. Looking forward to having Shaun on the show more here coming up. And get out and vote, man. I'm voting for McDaniel. That sounded like Rich Clear when I got my favorites on the Rankin County tax assessor, tax collector stuff, like that, all that. So
I'm voting for David Blunt because I do not want Pastor Pickett to represent the district there. After his attacks on Capitol Police.
If you're in, this is just me kind of throwing a jab here, but if you're in Jackson and Hinds County in District 5, go and pull that lever from Malcolm Johnson. Mm-hmm. I'm all for some change up there. And I think Malcolm would be a Molotov cocktail.
Be entertaining
to the Hinds County Board of Supervisors. That's just a personal opinion. All right, man. We'll see you back tomorrow. I'll be right back here with Grow Your Know with Kelly Williams. Stay tuned. I'll be right back.
Thanks for listening. Tune in tomorrow at 7 a.m. as the Clay Edwards Show discusses all that is going on in and around the city of Jackson.
This concludes our broadcast day.
Right here on 103.9 WYAB.